students and teachers. I hope you have given enough gifts to your teachers today. Been the Teachers' Day, I hope, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll ask the teachers later on, right? So, I hear that you have classes 6 to 10 here, right? So, I'll just tell you my own story, what I did in class 6 first. I used to fail in all subjects. I failed in English, I failed in Hindi, I failed in mathematics, I failed in science. I used to spend more time outside the classroom than inside the classroom. The teachers would throw me out every alternate class, so I did not study. There was one teacher who had more faith in me. And so 2-3 years, class 5, class 6 and class 7, I failed in practically all subjects. There was one teacher whom my parents knew would always pass me. So I don't know whether you have this. It's called as the conditional promotion. Conditional promotion means if you do well next year, then we will help you again. If you don't do well next year, then you will surely fail. So there was one teacher who still lives here in Bangalore. I studied in a city, steel city. If you read, when you read your science and everything, where does India's iron ore come from and where does the steel gets produced, and we had that time 5 steel cities in the country under something called as Steel Authority of India Limited. So Rourkela steel plant was what? The city had nothing else. Unlike in Bangalore, all your parents work in different places, right? But in the classroom where I used to study, all our parents went to the same place to work, that was in the steel plant. So we had 30 students in the class, 35, and I always used to get the rank 33, 34 or 35, right? So at least I used to come first, second, third from the bottom. I used to be very proud of it, right? And so I always used to compete with my sister, who again came 34th in her own class. Right. So it was all about in the 6th, 7th, fine in the 8th. Somehow my parents gave up, said this boy is never going to study. And my father said, can I buy you a auto rickshaw? Right, so that you can do something in your life by driving an auto rickshaw. And my sister, I've told my story of my sister, which is more interesting than my story. So in the 9th, there was a teacher who had a different way of teaching, who had a very motivating way of teaching mathematics, right? From getting 10 out of 100, in the 9th class, I started getting 95. And from being a 34th in the class, I came 3rd. Right? I started coming 3rd. And in the 10th, I came 2nd in the class. And then in the 11th, in physics, mathematics, chemistry, I scored the highest in the class. Right, the issue is what I'm trying to tell you, and especially for people who sit in the, I used to be a backbencher, I used to sit in the last. I was very shy. So that was the easiest place to run away from, right? But the question was, it was a teacher who motivated me, right? And it was somebody who taught that don't be dejected or don't feel bad if you score badly. Look at what you have learned. What is that? Even if you got 35, just look at why did you get 35. Every student here, every student sitting here in this hall has the potential to come first. But the question is, it's not the question of coming first wasn't important. What have you learned is more important than coming first. Right? So in the 11th and 12th, okay, I had a little more focus because there was a very good teacher who taught. And in the meantime, when I was in 12th, my sister was in 9th, right? She failed the class. She said, I do not have the interest in mathematics. I do not have interest in science. It was not the question she was bad in studies. She was good in something else. She was good in arts. And you remember, many of your teachers would remember 20 years ago, even now, you either want to be an engineer or want to be a doctor. But there are lots of other important things in life. So my sister went to, as I see in your brochure, you have a saying from Rabindranath Tagore, she went to Shantiniketan. She studied 8 years in Shantiniketan in Rabindranath Tagore's school, and she became a brilliant artist. Now she's a brilliant artist in Mumbai. She's known world over. But if she had remained and she passed, somebody would have forced her to be an engineer and doctor, but that was not her interest. So she's very happy that she failed. She was very happy she failed, because had she not failed, she would have been a doctor in India, which was not her interest. Because she failed, my parents had to look at what the other option was, and somebody said she was a good artist, she went to Shantiniketan. Right? Everybody of us have an interest. Follow your interest. Don't worry if you fail today. But what is more important is analyze, go back home, sit with your parents. Why did I fail? That's more important to us, to all of us. It's not the coming first or second or third or fourth. It's a question of what you learn in school, what your teachers teach, what is outside the school, which is more important, what is inside the school, what is important. Go back every day and write in your notebook, what have I learned today? It might not be physics, it might not be chemistry. I learned that a dog is hurt on the street. How can I help the dog? That is also a learning. I went and saw a street light on for the whole day. I learned that we are wasting energy because the street light was on the whole day. That's also a learning. Observe what is. That is where most of the learnings I was taught as a student by my parents and this one teacher. So when I got the Access Award, actually I called up two people. One was my teacher who helped me pass, and the other teacher who wanted me to fail. And I also called up that teacher and saying that, see, had you failed me, I don't know what I would have become. But you also taught me that why should I prove to you, teacher, that I am right? Not in an egoistic manner, but in a manner that you actually wanted that I should be a good student. I agree at that point of time. But also, it's an equal responsibility of the teacher to make a bad student good. It's very easy to teach students who come first, second, third, fourth, fifth. But it's also the equal responsibilities of the teacher to make sure that how the 30th grader, 34th, 35th guy who's failing, how to help him pass. It's easy to demotivate him. It is also the responsibility of the students who come first and second and third and fourth in the class to make sure that how your friends can also learn better. Equal responsibility of each one of you. If you have other students who are not doing well, you don't have to sit with them and see why they are not doing well. That is why you are called what? You are called as classmates. You are classmates, you are in the same class. It's your responsibility of students who come first, second to make sure that others also score better. Because if others score better, then your whole class will actually learn better together. For me, it's no fun that if I am coming first and all the others are not doing well. Right? Now coming back to what we did, I mean in the sense I went to IIT, did my engineering, went to the US. But once when I went to the US, I found how great our country was. Because sitting here, you never feel how great India is. Once you go outside the country, you feel how great the country is. Then I went to South America, a little bit. I traveled in South America and found out that there are a lot of poor people who were using solar energy. So I thought, can I study more on solar energy so I can be useful for my own country? Always my ambition when I left this country was when can I come back quickly? Not stay in America and earn money. That was never a motivation. Because I had studied in school. You study because you want to increase your knowledge. And why do you want to increase your knowledge? As it says in your brochure, you increase your knowledge not for yourself, but how to help others. The fundamental thing I learned in school was to learn how can I help others. And that is when I came back. I settled down in Karnataka and saw that today when you go back, all of you go back, you have light at your home, you have TV in your house, right? But today in India, More than half the population of our country does not have light. They are not as lucky as you are. You are very lucky. You have parents who are working. You are very lucky you have electricity at home. You are very lucky you have cable television. You are very lucky that you are studying in this school, which is giving you a very good education. Right? Now, after you finish your studies, your responsibility is not only for yourself, not only for your parents, but for this country. Right? And that is very important to all of us. Today, how do we help the other population?